19th, 2015, 6 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. Those present are Darrell Baker, County Clerk, Carrie Matthews, President, Charles Vance, Commissioner, Phoebe Harless, Commissioner. Now we need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of the Lincoln County Commission meeting that was held on November 5th, 2015 at 6 p.m. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With that being unanimous, the motion carries. Next, we have public comment. I see no one in here who has signed in for public comment. All right, so we'll move on. Next, we have discussion of concern, possible action. Rick McDowell.
Yes, sir.
Come on down.
Okay.
This is regarding the Farmland Protection Board.
Even when you don't have stuff, we drag you back up here, don't we?
It's all right. I'll try to be helpful. I brought some visual aids.
Oh, good. I apologize for having to come back. I know
No,
you
that's
can-
okay. That's all right.
Well, we
I mean, we
didn't.
can continue to educate everybody about the Farmland Protection Board.
Okay.
Do you want me to just sort of give a little bit of history?
Yeah, you can. I have some stuff I want
Okay.
you to, I'm gonna ask you just to have it on the record.
Sure,
so-
sure.
Okay, you
Well,
go ahead.
This goes back to 2006, November 2006, when the commission adopted a resolution to create a farmland board. And there are farmland boards in a lot of other counties, but it's mostly, well, there's nobody around us that's got a farmland board. All these others are on the eastern panhandle. And the idea is to protect farms so that they'll be there and that they won't be taken over for other uses.
Development.
Other kind of development.
Yeah.
So, that happened on the November 6th. Then later that month, the commission appointed a board. There are state statutes that say how the board's supposed to be configured. And then in March 2007, the commission started funding. And the way the funding works, and this is by state statute, okay, there's a $2.20 per thousand excise tax that goes on the transfer fee. in the county. 220. There's one right now that's $4.40, and the state statute allows the county to add this additional $2.20 specifically for farmland protection. So that's where the funding comes from for the farmland protection. In 2013, the board, the Farmland Protection Board got a DUNS number. In 2014, they became tax exempt. We've had a number of roadblocks in Lincoln County as we've tried to move toward this. The biggest one that we had to fight through was the fact that 90% of the property in Lincoln County has severed minerals. And the state was saying that you could not get an easement on property where there was severed minerals unless the mineral holder would guarantee that the minerals would never be used. Well, that's pretty hard to get mineral holders to do that. So we didn't have any help from the state level. There's a state board. We asked our federal legislators for help. In the end, we were able to agree that if we got a geologist to say that there was hardly any chance at all that the minerals would ever be used, then that would be sufficient in the eyes of the feds and in the eyes of the state. So we were able to get through that hurdle. The next hurdle we came upon was we had to get a yellow book appraisal on the property. It's a special kind of appraisal. There were only 2 people in the state that did that. They weren't anywhere near us. We got one guy who did. The appraisal was, it seemed very, very low.
But he was one of the Yellow Book appraisers.
He was a Yellow Book appraiser. So there was a big debate about who is a Yellow Book appraiser. You know, what makes somebody a Yellow Book appraiser. We finally got another concession that we were able to get an appraiser, Mark Pilcher, who is currently doing another appraisal of property for us, who his appraisal will be accepted as a Yellow Book appraisal.
Do you know how far along he is on that?
He has been to Lincoln County. He was working in the courthouse. He got some documents that we had on hand. It's my understanding that one of the things that you've gotta do is you gotta determine comparable farms with easements. Of course, there are no easements in Lincoln County. We haven't done this yet. So it's next to impossible for him to find a comparable farm in the area. So I think what he's doing now, it's my understanding, I haven't talked to him about it, is that he's in the Eastern Panhandle checking those farms to find a situation that he feels is comparable so that he can finish it.
Okay, can I?
Sure, you can stop me whenever you want.
Okay,
I've
can
been
you-
stopped by the commission before.
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
work through this.
Right.
Tell us first of all, so that everybody knows where this property is located.
Well, the board would like to wait until, their feeling has always been that until they get everything finished, it doesn't make sense to say, this is the property. Yeah, but I can do whatever then.
Okay, well,
So where's the
Right.
property at?
that's what he
I mean,
said, they
it's-
don't wanna tell.
It's in Lincoln County.
Oh,
We just
the
felt,
board doesn't wanna
the
say.
board just felt
Oh, okay.
like it, but
Was
I
that
don't,
just, I wonder what the reasoning,
I don't know. Well, it's property on the Dairy Road,
Okay.
that we're looking at now.
okay, does the person who owns the property live there on the property? Or in the county?
He owns the property, he does not live there. I don't think he lives there. I mean, he spends time there, because I see him at Hager's when he's buying parts for the tractor when it
So
breaks down.
is it a working farm
Oh, it's definitely a working farm.
that employs,
Has a person who lives there as a caretaker, and I think it's primarily a hay farm.
So-
Maybe some cattle there, I'm not sure, but it is a farm. And the statute defines farms pretty broadly. I mean, your farm could not be being farmed, it could have fields on it, and that could have timber on it, but it could count as a farm, according to the federal
so
statute.
one person is employed there, you
Yeah,
think maybe?
I think. And that's not, the number of people who are employed on the farm is not anything that's in the statute.
Right. But I think when we make decisions, we have to keep it in mind, how many people are gonna benefit from this easement, or the.
Well, the benefit from it's gonna benefit, in the biggest sense, it's gonna benefit the county because it's gonna protect farmland for the county. I mean, that's my understanding. I wasn't on the initial action, but that's my understanding why the commission set it up, was that they felt that it was important as, you go down Corridor G, you go down I-64, there are a lot fewer farms than there used to be. They've been taken over, and that there's value in farms. There's value in having that. And that was the idea, to protect the farm itself, to protect the land by
So
creating
you're
this
saying
easement.
that it's a functioning farm right now?
It's a functioning farm.
They cut hay on it,
Yeah.
it's basically a hay, but it's not a dairy farm or
It's
anything.
no longer a dairy farm. At one point it was, I think, was a dairy
You know,
farm.
the only question I have that I want to bring up is, it's my understanding when the first yellow, whatever appraiser did this, they come up with a number that the board of directors or whatever felt was too low. Is that correct? As far as what you all
The
would
Yellow
pay
Book
for?
The Yellow Book appraisal, right. When they
Right.
came back with the first Yellow Book appraisal, we felt it was way too low because we felt that the comps that he was using, one thing was that the comps didn't seem correct, but the other, that the comps were low and they weren't anywhere around their
You
area.
really haven't had the second one to give you.
We haven't had the second one yet.
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes contrary to what I think when I spend people's money, in that if you get someone to appraise it and say, okay, we want you, that's worth $100,000, and say,
Uh-huh.
just a number, 100,000. And then you know, the board of directors says, well, that's probably lower than what it should be, let's get somebody else to give us a higher number that we're gonna have to pay for it. You know, to me, that seems a
Sure.
little, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the way, it's a little complicated. I don't know whether I can explain it completely correctly. Okay, you look, and I brought some visual aids to try to do this. There's two things going on. There is the value of the farm itself, X number of dollars, but then there's the value of the farm with the easement, and what happens is that drops the value of the farm. It's not worth as much money when it has the easement on it, because the easement fixes it so the farm cannot be used in as many ways as it might be.
Is the owner been approached with what the original appraisal was for?
Yes.
Okay, and he had a negative response to that?
Not to the original appraisal, the original Yellow Book appraisal. The Yellow Book is sort of a subset of it.
Right, that's the number I was referring to. That's the number we have to come up with money-wise. If we settle it.
No, because there's the Yellow Book appraisal, then there's the money that the feds are gonna kick in. And what the feds are gonna kick in, and this was not our understanding when it all started. We thought it was 50/50
Right,
match. What it is now is the feds have this formula based on the value of the soils in the easement area. So, if we go back to what kind of farm it is, if it was a farm that was mainly timber, those soils wouldn't be worth as much as a farm that has good bottomlands. And so this farm has pretty good bottomlands because it's right by the river. And so how much money the feds are gonna put into the equation is gonna be based on the soils in the easement area.
So, can I
And we don't know what that amount is
I
yet.
just want
Yes.
to ask a question, maybe I missed this.
Uh,
So, whenever this gets appraised, all right,
Right.
okay, it goes through, I mean, so let's say it goes through,
Uh-huh.
who gets paid?
The owner gets paid.
The owner gets paid.
The owner gets paid.
He still owns the whole, we pay him, but he still
I'm
owns
just-
the whole.
Right.
I'm just getting this,
Right.
trying to clarify
Yes.
this.
And can I do a little, go ahead.
No, so
Answer my question.
the owner still owns the property.
The owner
Okay.
still owns the property.
And then you spoke about a 50/50 match.
Well, that's
And
what
was
we,
that initial and then it was changed at a certain date? Cause I mean,
I'm
like,
not,
I came in 2013, she just
This-
came in.
this started,
You know, was
this,
you
we
around?
go back
Yeah.
to 2006.
Yeah, we just started, yeah.
That was a
I was
long
wondering,
time
I was wondering. That's why I don't.
Is it not based on the quality of the soil?
It's
though?
based on the
not.
quality of soil, right. But even with the, yeah, and originally, we, the board, when I got on the board, I'm not sure when I got on the board, but whenever I got on the board, we thought it was 50/50, that it was gonna be a 50/50 match. And I don't know whether we didn't understand it, or whether, the other thing is, this is all part of the farm bill, the federal farm bill. You know how those things change, whether it somehow along the line, we were working under the 2009 farm bill, and all of a sudden it's the 2012 farm bill that this property is sort of housed under, and it's a, I'm not.
Isn't it true though that because a lot of the easement is on the riverbank, they said it wasn't good quality? Was it
Well,
quality?
there's a thing, if you, I don't know my soils, okay, but there is a soil classification in the bottom area, it's called NE soil. Look at a soil scientist here who can correct me if I make a big mistake. Okay, so we got this and I think I've got this right. We have the NE soil, because often NE soils are in flood areas. It has a low value, okay? But in Lincoln County, NE soils are not in low lying areas, they're not in flood areas. We've got a lot of NE soils on this property as well as on the Guyandotte, over on the Guyandotte, on the Falls of Guyandotte, the big farm over there, the steel farm.
Yeah.
Both of those areas have NE soils, both of those areas where the NE soils are don't flood. So we've asked the state to classify the any soil as a soil of local county importance, which would change the value of that soil, because
But that means
it's low.
we would have to pay more for it.
No, they would have to pay.
Oh, the government.
The government would have to pay more.
Well, my question is, two, is how much of this is in the floodplain?
Very little is in the floodplain.
I mean, because I go down through there sometimes and it's over the road, down there, so I don't know.
But they had brought a map, and it was colored, like it was a flyover of the farm, and it was color coded, and it lit up like the locally important soil was one
So,
color.
yeah, all sorts of, there
Yeah, it
were
was all-
multiple kinds of soils.
There wasn't very much on that farm that was really important, locally important. I mean, what was
Well,
right up on the road,
That was,
color-wise,
well, there's not a classification that says, when you look at the soils of the whole state, there's not a color for locally important soils. This would be a special thing that they would do for this soil specific in Lincoln County that we're asking.
So you're getting a certain price per percentage of soil that you have?
Right.
And you have to take an aggregate of all the soil on the property?
In the easement area.
yeah. Where, I mean, I've been to the meetings and I saw the map, but where
Right.
exactly is the easement? in-
The easement is all the bottom lands. It's not the hillsides. The easement is,
Just-
that's where it's being farmed, along the river. It's pretty much between the, if you drive toward Huntington, between the road and the river.
Okay,
That's-
before you go ahead with this, though, you're gonna know how much the government's gonna kick in and everything.
Right. We're gonna come up with a final map, and we will come to the commission and say, this is what it is. We ask you to approve this purchasing of the easement.
Because
We
we
would
were
come
paying
to
the majority of,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the large majority of it. They were paying very little of the way it stands.
How much money do you have right now?
We have just under 250,000.
But you know, I have problems with the match, but there's been a lot of time and money spent on this so far. You know, I just felt like if the guy was really sincere about, and I'm not gonna call him,
Sure.
but if he was really sincere about protecting this farmland, you know, can they donate it? I mean, it just
You
seems that
could-
he
a
wouldn't
person
take
could
that
donate it.
offer. You know, you
Well-
all helped him to do that, to get it protected, then he wouldn't take the offer.
Well, we haven't made an offer yet.
I mean, like, he didn't wanna take the first appraisal though,
Right,
correct?
he didn't want to take the first appraisal.
If he would have, this could have been already.
I mean, the board also, the board wasn't happy with the first appraisal. It wasn't like the board was saying, yes, this is great. Part of the thing about seeing if he would take the first appraisal was the ticking clock. It was so like, ooh, we're beginning to run out of time. Maybe he'll take the first appraisal and we can close this thing and be done with it.
Because it has to be done by May.
Something like that. The target seems to move around, depending on who you're talking to. Becky, one little thing with my pencil.
Yeah.
Since you brought him in.
I brought him in.
I want to see
Okay.
this visual aid.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, did you count how many there were?
No.
Okay, all right, so, one way to look at this whole thing is to look at property and what property is worth, okay? I didn't make this up, I got this from somebody else. Okay, so, I'm a property owner, these are all the different kind of property rights that I have in my bundle, that is my property, that gives my property value. But sometimes things happen. For instance, in Lincoln County, this guy has lost his minerals. Okay? He doesn't have the minerals anymore, so the property value has gone down. It's not worth as much as it is. Okay, now we're talking about this easement, talking about putting an easement on the farm. And some of the things that happen when you have an easement is that you cannot give any of the property away. You can't give it to your family. So I can't, KK's my son, and I want to give him 20 acres on my farm, he can't do that, because there's an easement. Another thing that happens is I can't sell it to Walmart with theirs. So that's going to lower the value of the property. You can't create a subdivision to make some money. So some more of the property value goes down. You are limited to what's called non-porous surfaces. So you can't put in a new place for, you know, your trucks or your stuff. You can't do that kind of thing. You can't clear cut the tender. You can't install in below-ground holding tanks. You can't lease it to a cell tower. You can't do all sorts of things. So the value of the property for the owner, even though we're paying him some money, his value for what he can do with it has significantly decreased because he's allowed this easement kind of thing to happen. So I think that's another way to look at this whole thing. It's true, yeah, this guy gets to keep his property, but he's limited now on what he can do with it. And that has some bearing in some.
What was this guy had the property?
It has been, it has been in his family since Patrick Henry was the governor of Virginia. So it's been, his family has owned this property for a while.
You know,
And this would also protect him from eminent domain, from,
It might,
like, the school system
supposedly.
could never come in and say, we need
Well,
this property.
I don't know. I don't think there's been a test case of that.
So,
I guess if you had a good enough lawyer, you could do anything.
But this is kind of protecting him from the
Right.
eminent domain.
Right.
well, and the only thing that's kind of counterintuitive to me about this is the fact that I wouldn't mind having a Walmart in Lincoln County.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean, as far as
Well,
the jobs, if we look at the number of jobs being created and things like that, you know, you're kind of restricting where people can do things, which is part of the reason you have that preservation of the farm.
It
you know.
is.
And
It
I
is.
guess, you know, if we were economically driven by other things, you know, other than what we, you know, we're desperate to get anything here, so it's kind of, to me, it's a little bothersome to, you know, and thinking, and it wasn't back when we were talking about this. I know when Lauren brought this up and we talked about it, and I thought it was a really good idea, and I still think it's a good idea. I just think sometimes though, when you're in situations like we're in economically, to me, it's really hard to restrict what people can do to develop jobs. And so, you know, and in the back of my mind, it's just something I think.
It is interesting. I mean, to me, it's just amazing that Lincoln County is trying to do both things. We're both trying to bring in industry and develop the county, but we're also trying to protect farms. It's sort of like, wow, that's pretty amazing that Lincoln County would have that kind of vision to do that.
So I guess this person came to your board though, and, I mean, you didn't get out and solicit him for this easement, did he approach?
No, he was solicited by a board member. As the board, this is pre-read, okay, this is my understanding, I came on just as all this kind of stuff was happening. As the board was beginning to develop, I mean, one of the things was they had this mandate to try to find farms in Lincoln County that were of value, either because they had a good use shed or because they were just good farms. And somebody said, well, now, there's that beautiful farm on Dairy Road, and that's how it started. Because it really is I mean, you think about farms in Lincoln County, the Steel Farm's a wonderful farm.
You know,
this is
just as a for instance, you know, I was involved a few years ago with trying to get the cracker plant at the steel farm.
right.
And, you know, and so, and that, you know, you kind of look at that from what I was saying before. Is
Sure.
that, you know, oh my goodness, what if that was already out of the question, you know?
Right.
And we got to the point to where we were close, you know, and I don't think we were probably in the top 3 places or 4 places, but we did a lot of work looking. I know my son did at the EPA and things of that nature, but, you know, I think that goes along the line again. Sometimes we have to look at it. And I know we need farmland preserved, and I think it's great that we try that in Lincoln County. But there's a lot of other farmland in other places that have probably aren't as depressed as we are, and don't have a lot of people out of work like we do with all the mines closed. So I don't know. It's just something. But I think you know, I know it's been a lot of hard work, and I'm sure you think of these things too. You know, so.
Well, we have discussions for sure. What would the commission like us to, I mean, we're sort of trying to push this thing as fast as we can because the federal calendar that we are under with this farm when it went in the first time is gonna close sometime next year. I don't know, if it's March, April, May, June, something like that. It's gonna be done, and if we're not finished, then we'd have to start all over. So we're trying to push this thing along. Are there?
What
the things
time
you would
next year
like-
do you have? What time?
Do we have to have it
No,
done?
I'm
by?
talking, I mean, is there a deadline next
There-
year?
Well, I have heard a couple different deadlines. I mean, some people say, well, you gotta have it to the state by March. Some people say, well, no, the real drop dead date with the state is April. I'm not sure, for sure when it is, but it's coming up, and our hope is that as we close this calendar year and get into the first part of 2016, we're gonna be done with this. I mean, we're pushing the guy's doing the yellow book to get this yellow book done. I mean, you just want to wait until we've got the package for us to come, or are you thinking should sort of put on some brakes, or what? Do you have any?
When you were here before, we told you to proceed. Now, I mean, obviously we have concerns about it. Do you proceed and spend more money in doing so when?
I'm sorry, just spend,
I mean, you're gonna have to pay this guy for the legal fees are monthly, you have consultants monthly, I mean, it's a,
right, we do spend money.
I mean, should we spend more money on it than?
I mean, we're not spending lots of, I mean, it's
What I'm
not like
saying
we're
is
spending.
that coming out of your $250,000
Exactly.
you have?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, you know, I talked to
Mhm.
you about some of these
Right.
concerns I had, and I felt like that they needed
Well, you
to.
know, the concerns, I think we brought up, you know, I don't think you could say no to something you don't know how much, what the government's going to come up with. You know, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I don't know how the rest of the commission feels, but I mean, I think that, but then again, you know, it's something like I say that I have a different perception than I did in 2006 when we lost all the jobs and things, you know, I mean, just really, so I just really, you know, but I do also realize the importance of conserving farmland. But I also know it's important to get people water and all that stuff, you know, so there's a lot of different things that we have to look at, but, I think it's whatever the commission want to do. I think it eventually comes for us anyway, and we could say,
Well,
okay,
it will.
okay.
It will. I mean, I don't know if there's a way to try to push, we're trying to get any soil, whether it's locally important or just straight any, we're trying to get that settled. I don't know, once that's settled, whether the state would then be able to give us a percentage, they'd have a better idea about that. I would think they would, but I'm not sure.
Well, and the thing I'm looking at too is I don't, you know, I've been going up down to that farm a long time and it hasn't changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
And if we are another year, I don't know that would make it, you know what I mean? If we wind up not, I just really hate, and I'm glad you came because I understand a little bit better than what I did before. And like I said, I'm also looking at it with a set of eyes that was different when we started in 2006, you know, and so.
Well, I mean, because the farm's been, we're talking about it, the owner can't, I mean, he can't start developing it or anything right now because that would violate the possibility of doing the easement. I mean, he couldn't put in another couple houses or anything like that because it's already sort of, you know, the proposal is constructed, and the way it is now, it's gotta stay that way.
The only thing I have is, I'd like to find out, you know, if it was a 50-50 match to begin with,
Right.
and
Yeah.
if it's now based on the value of the soil, because I feel like that's kind of like moving the goalpost on us.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know.
For sure, you were right on
And I
that, the
mean-
goalpost has been moved.
Well, and that's something to take into consideration as well. I mean, you know, whenever you have rules of the game, and you start the game, you don't change the rules,
Unless you're in government.
I guess. But you don't have to play ball, you understand?
I know.
Thank you, all go home.
That's right.
That's right.
I don't understand
right.
how this guy can do an appraisal, a new appraisal,
Uh-huh.
if the quality of the soil, you get this new classification of the soil
Right.
midstream of his appraisal, will that not
His,
change it?
his appraisal doesn't, the soil classification doesn't impact the appraisal. The appraisal is of the farm itself, not of the soils. The soils come in with the federal office in Morgantown.
So if they change that classification, it won't change the appraisal, it'll just
It-
hope that the NRCS will pick up more of the.
Exactly, they'll pick up more money. The appraisal, that we've got I think, I can't remember the numbers very well. I think it was 250,000 was the appraisal, not the Yellow Book appraisal, but the appraisal of the farm as it's what they call the highest and best use, which would be as a Walmart. Walmart comes in, I guess. I don't know what the highest and best use, the highest economic value, let's not say the best use, because we're saying the best use is to leave it as a farm, you know. So the highest economic values is 250. Now, when the appraisal happens, when the Yellow Book appraisal happens, they take into account that if the easement lowers the value of the farm, because all these pencils have been taken out, now it's not worth 250,000. Now it's only worth, I don't know what it's gonna be. The first one, I think, was 120,000.
The easement.
The
easement was.
Yellow Book.
I thought the easement was gonna be.
Okay, the
120.
easement, yeah.
The easement was 120.
Right.
And of the 120, 100 was coming from,
Well, we weren't sure, I mean, because the soils thing was still up in the air.
that as when the first
This was sort
appraisal
of
was
a
finished,
guess.
it was
This was-
the farmland protection paid 100 and the NRCS paid 100.
That was like a guesstimate. There was nothing in writing because we didn't have all our ducks in. Yeah. So,
I think, I kinda agree with Doc, I think you have to go and look and see what, and I don't know, you probably agree too, what the value is of the soil, right? You have to find out what the feds say,
Well,
right?
that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah, and then that would, determine how much they're
They're
going to
gonna pay.
And,
Of whatever this new easement price is
Yeah,
that
from the
we
Yellow
get
Book.
from the Yellow.
right, so I think that that's what we have to do,
Okay.
I mean, that's my opinion. I don't, do you all concur?
well, I told him I'm interested to see what this new appraisal comes in at.
Yeah, I think we need to look at that and see. The other thing too is if there's a big difference in these yellow appraisals, to me, I don't know, just because I'm in Lincoln County, I don't know. But I mean, you worry a little bit if they're trained to be these certified yellow whatever appraisers, and there's a big difference in what they come up with, that to me will send up a flag to me. I mean, and I know the whole purpose was because you all felt it was worth more,
Right.
and I do think that farm's worth more than what you brought up. I mean, but that's, like I said, I think, I really would like to just look and see what you come up with, see when you go from there.
So should we wait until we have the package done? Or should we come back when this is what it looks like?
I think you ought to come back to ask, what it looks like.
What it looks like it's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, 'cause,
Before the package,
okay.
I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, that'll be done.
And are there other specific kind of things you'd like to know?
No, maybe just an update on it as you go.
Okay.
Like timeline, when is this thing?
You wanna see maps and soils?
No, I don't really want to see that.
No, no.
Just-
I mean, this is
Just
gonna
holler
go
at Mary
quick.
every
I mean,
once in a
it's
while,
gonna
let her
have
know
to-
where
This
you're
is
at.
gonna have to go pretty quick from here on out to get it in, so I think
Right.
May would be
What- what-
fine.
And I think that, and I know what you're talking about, that, like I said, I'm not, I would like to see it done if it's what's right to be done, but I don't wanna rush into something that's not gonna be right. And I just right now don't know, so.
Okay. Sorry it's so complicated, I don't know why I always get these
So,
complicated things to bring.
So you can bring demonstration, shows.
Sure, that's right. It's a
It
teaching
really,
tool.
your pencils really help.
Good.
That's really, thanks, Rick.
The different, I think these may be from Lincoln County. No, they're Smokey the Bear. I thought they were clean up the county.
I see Hall's here. Did you put on a request? Is this your?
Yeah, that Hawson talked to
Let's go ahead and
me.
go there since they're here.
Okay.
We're gonna go to request for $500 for a match for the Hearts Community Center for Community Appreciation Day. Saw Hoss in the audience, and I know we talk a lot up here, so we were gonna, I know Doc put this on the agenda and just let you speak about it a little bit.
Well, what it is, we're having we used to have it at Frollsburg, we had a community center at Frollsburg. We would have a Thanksgiving dinner for the community. We'd always have it the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. And anybody that's willing and wants to, is more than welcome to come and have a free Thanksgiving dinner. It'll be ham and turkey, dressing, green beans. We want to invite you guys to come for all the help you all helped us with getting that community center kicked off,
When is it?
this Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yeah, 21st, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. And you know, we got some money, but what we're doing is, if we don't get contributions, we have some already. But if we don't get any, we're still gonna have it because the community, that's something they asked for, and I think we need to help our community, you know? Like the food giveaway.
Yeah, you have $500. You already have $500, so this is just a match for them. Like, I move that we give them $500 for this. I think this is a good thing for the community.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And it runs us around $1,000.
Well, it's good. It's a good thing for the county. Thanks, Hoss. And I just wanted to go ahead and do that real quick.
Thank you, bud.
Let's go ahead and do Mike Webb. Mike Webb is not here today, but this is the Big Hearts of Francis Creek drawdown request. And we need, here we are.
Do we have a number on them or anything that we can reference?
Let's see here. Enclosure will find a drawdown request number 20 in the amount of $3,910.96 for the above referenced project. And is the Big Hearts Water Project, phase 1.
A motion to go ahead and give you permission to sign
I second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
that. Aye.
How come we haven't done either of them for the alcohol bill? You want me to-
I think it was, the reason we haven't done any is because the money that we committed, that's, the drawdowns are coming from us because that's the money that we committed to the project. The other funds went directly to the PSD, and that's where they are using the funds.
I just wonder. 'cause
Well, I mean,
they're
you know,
always
because
gonna
there's
get-
all, you know, because there's money committed here, and then there was money committed to various projects across the county. Is there another one there?
There should be another one.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do this one. I think that's it for that one. And this next one is for. Let's just do the next one. All right, I got it. Next one is, it's enclosed, you will find a drawdown request number 14 in the amount of $182,376.92 for the above referenced Small Cities Block Grant Project. Documentation included as a part of this request is as follows. One invoice from Region 2 Planning and Development Council totaling $891.60. One invoice from E.L. Robertson, invoice number 7 totaling $17,246.10 for engineering services. One invoice from Danny Sullivan Excavating for construction services totaling $164,239.22. And enclosure will find a resolution authorizing request for reimbursement of said invoices. So we need a motion to approve this, or give me permission to sign.
I'll second it.
Move, second. Any further discussion?
Mhm.
It's unanimous. So let's keep going with this. There you go. Now, we'll just go up to the list. Branchland, Park property.
That is me.
That is you.
The EDA meeting was tonight. The EDA, they have volunteered, as you know, I think we talked about it before, the Parks and Rec voted to give this property that was donated to them back to the owner. So we had kind of agreed here to take it, but the EDA is willing to take it. I told him that it didn't matter, we could put it in our name, as far as I'm concerned, but they are willing to. I just wanted to run it by you and see how you want to do it. And we're gonna have to get, Dave Carter, somebody to fix up, because they've gotta give it back to him, and then he'll have to. So we've gotta get the deeds all switched around too, so we need to act on that.
Can we put it in the, just put it in the EDA? Put it in there, where you wanna do it with us? I mean, what would be the benefit? What would be the benefit for either?
Well, I don't, I think, ultimately we're responsible for it anyway, whether it be with them or with Parks and Rec.
And we called our liability insurance, so it can be covered under our umbrella at no additional cost. So it's not gonna cost us anything to put liability insurance on it, so.
I'm just thinking maybe,
I said, then we just need to take it.
Yeah, I think since we may wanna look at how we structure these things in the future as far as the different commissions and stuff, so I don't really wanna have something, we have to transfer property and things, so. I
Okay,
think
so-
if they're okay with it, I'd be okay with it.
I will have Mary get a hold of the prosecutor then and have him start the process of getting it all switched around, and I'll tell the EDA that's what we're gonna do. And they're fine with it either way, they were just.
Right, and they could still have, work with them on it and things like that as part of their job.
So I move that we accept the Branchland Park property.
I'll say,
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That be unanimous. Motion carries. Proposed building permit fee schedule. Rick Keller, come on down.
Hopefully this will be the last time you have to do this, one way or another.
Well, it's a
He's been
process.
here a few times.
It's a process. You have the sheet in front of you?
Yeah.
Right, it's based on the fee schedule that was put on this document. It's basically the same language that was discussed at a prior commission meeting. I believe it was in late September, early October, somewhere in that area. It's a graduated scale. We felt, as the planning commission, felt that a $25 fee would be across the board rather than increasing commercial fee. We just, if it was in a floodplain, because of the nature of the work that's required for a commercial facility in a floodplain, of adding a $300 floodplain fee. And the rest of it would be a graduated scale. 0 to 250,000 would be $1 a thousand. 250,000 to 500,000 would be $3 a thousand, and then anything above 500,000 would be $5 a thousand. And I believe that, I left my sheet over at the office.
Yeah, here it is.
But I believe the example was that for $1 million commercial development project, the total fees would be $3,523 for $1 million project.
And that keeps the application, it keeps the application fee uniform
Uniform throughout.
throughout. The only difference would be, if it's in a floodplain, then
An
it
additional
would be,
$300.
there would be a $300 fee for that. Other than that, there was changes made because of your comments last time about try to reduce the, I guess, the amount of money per thousand so that it doesn't affect small businesses. And that's why you'll see that from $0 to $250,000.
Well, because previously it was, we were keeping small businesses and small business owners at 100,000, and then we would increase it.
Right.
This way, it takes out $250,000 for small business owners for that.
Now, have we went through all, is there any statutory meetings or anything we have to do or anything with this? or-
Because of the ordinance under the fees, it's up to the county commission to set the applicable fee. And that's, so there's no need for a public meeting, public reading of the ordinance. Talked to the state office about this, and they said that's developed in that paragraph.
Okay, on the usage of these fees, you and I had talked before about, using them for different things, including dilapidated buildings and self-help water projects.
Yeah, we talked about, I think we passed that if we had this, that the first year, 75% would go to dilapidated buildings, 25% would go to water projects, and then thereon after, it would be a 50-50 mix. Whatever came in, 50 of it went to water projects and.
Now, how does this affect, when we had the dilapidated building committee the other time, they took down a building that they had to for safety reasons or whatever, you could legally recoup your monies from the property owner. There was some way, there's a process to do that.
Attach a lien to the
Yeah. Now,
property.
how does that, say we give monies, if the commission would give the monies, the way I envision this to work is when you'd identify a place that you'd have to do that, you bring it before the commission and say, hey, this is gonna cost this much to tear this down, the commission approves it, does that. Okay, now we do that with this monies we've got from our taxpayers and things, so, if monies are recouped, which should be done, which is what the legal, we legally are supposed to do, the way I understand it, then does that monies come back to the commission to put in this fund?
Yeah,
or-
I think that's probably what should happen.
Right, because
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
I don't want to
Yeah.
wind up, because there's a law, I don't know how the law is stated, but I do know that it allows the organization that, and I'm thinking as commissioners, we have to prove it to being tore down or whatever,
Well-
and to get our monies back by placing that lien. And I think that, we need to make every effort as we do. I think we have to notify them several different times that they need to take care of it, or we
There's a
have to take
process
care of
to
it.
it.
So I just wanted to make sure that the commission, or that those of us working with us understood that we probably expected that money to come back to the fund, if it was recouped and things of that nature, and that.
Well, here's the thing, and if that does happen, then that really kind of changes the outlook on your percentages, of what you get, what it's allotted for.
Well,
Yeah,
I
you
think that's the
understand what
whole
I'm
thing, because I do think that we need to, there needs to be something done about the dilapidated buildings and things from safety reasons and also economic reasons, but I also feel very strongly that as much money as we can get into water, we ought to do it. And I think, because we're seeing these federal funds going to dry up on these water projects and things, so as much as we can generate locally, I think we need to dedicate to that, so. I think there's pluses and minuses with everything, but I do feel better about the fees that we're charging here versus what was brought before us originally.
Well, I move that we accept the proposed building permit fee schedule.
I'll second
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
that. Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Me.
Okay. 2-1 vote, motion carries.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks. Next, we have, Phoebe, I believe you put this on. to make Mary Knapper Chief Administrative Officer and be placed on salary. So you go ahead and speak.
I mean, we've discussed this back when we did the budget hearings in March. We've kind of tossed it around since, and I just think we need to do what we said we were going to in March. And that's what we.
Well, I think one thing too is that, I think that the commission's gonna have to rely upon, Ms. Napper more because of the things we're trying to get settled with our jail bill and working with the prosecutor and doing some things as far as reorganization. And I feel very comfortable in doing this. I feel that she, has the, background, she has the experience, and she has the ability to work with people that I think it'll take a lot of the weight off us and allow us to be more effective in what we do if we do this.
I have a few questions. This is a title change. Is there I was under the impression that she was on salary right now. I thought that she was getting paid a set salary. Not Mary, could you confirm that?
Well, I mean, I get paid at set salary, yeah.
So is this with the title change, does this come with any type of raise?
I think you'd have to, look at as far as, I would hope all we could do is look at as far as what job description we wanted her to do and then make that decision at that time. Because there's several different things that I'd like to do, as far as put down, and some of these are personnel things, so I'd really rather if we can discuss them as far as, what I would entail her job duties to be and how much more they'd be than what they are now, and things of that nature. And I don't really know all that because I think it depends upon what the commission wants her to do. So, I think that we'd have to decide, exactly what we were looking at with that.
You have any comment there? So this is just to change the title.
No, I think.
I mean, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah, we had talked about, her becoming, county administrator and things of that nature, which I know you're aware, and I'm aware that there has to be particular things done to get a county administrator legally put into that position as far as the type things we have to do. Being we've had a chief administrative officer here before, and, as far as I'm aware, legally, there's nothing we have to do as far as, jumping through any hoops to have a chief administrative officer.
I think this is a little bit awkward, I don't know if we should even be discussing this with Mary. Should we go into executive session to talk about this, or do you all feel like
We could
need
do
to?
that if you all want, because it is a personnel issue, and I think you could do that if you wanted to do that. But it's at the will of the commission as far as whether we do that or not. I think the fact that we're talking about changing job duties and things of that nature and not knowing what they are, that may take more than just an executive session, so.
would you like to table this, until the next meeting in December? It'll be the December 1st meeting, and in the interim, the commission talk about, what it is a chief administrative officer would do, and come up with if there is to be a salary or any type of enhancement in salary as to what it would be. Because this is if this is gonna be voted on, then we have to be clear on what it is. What's going on, if there is a salary increase, what is the salary increase? What are, the job duties? And, I think that, if that's gonna happen, given, what has happened this year with our budget. And,
Well, I
the
think
different things.
one of the things in doing this was I hope that we could operate more efficiently and look at different ways that we could save money in this upcoming year. And, you're the president of this commission, so you can decide on what you want to do about it. If you don't feel comfortable with, I mean, without, spelling out everything that, her job description would be, and I guess that's what we're looking for, basically, is, I mean, if you felt that you needed to wait on that, then I could see your point. I think you're very well aware of what the duties that she's had over the last, couple of years and the job that she's done, so, I think I've taken that into consideration too, so.
So what new job duties would she be doing?
Well, off the top of my head, I can think that she'll be meeting regularly with the prosecutor to try to cut down on the jail bill. I've also asked her, I thought we were maybe going to do that in this meeting, if she could check with the people in the authority and see if we could set up a payment plan for a jail bill and have her work with that, with the state. I think there's other things we need to look at as far as the amount of committees and commissions and authorities that we have in that, whether we might want to look at possibly combining some of those and see if we couldn't save money not only on audits every year, but on being more efficient and having them having the same ideas as far as what projects they would want to pursue.
I mean, I just want to say, I think Mary does a great job. She's very diligent with the budget and has saved us a lot of money this year already, and you know what she does.
Of course, I do, I mean,
Mary knows the budget inside and out and does everything she can to, I mean, we saved almost $9,000 on our settlements that she
yes.
helped us
The-
do, so.
The only, the question that I think that we need to address, and I think that, as far as the extra duties, I think you've addressed that. I know what Mary does, through the day, and she does a lot. I mean, she was a very good hire, okay, because I believe you hired her. And she has met expectations and beyond. And back when we were doing the budget, that's one of the things that I talked about was, see if we can work our budget around making her an administrator, like every other county in the state of West Virginia. But that didn't happen. One thing that we need to know is that if this is gonna take place, what would the new salary be? I mean, I think that we would have to, I think we would want to spell out what the salary would be.
Well, in March, when we did our budget hearing, we all agreed that, the job Mary did, we set things down for her, this will be your expectations. I mean, we went through this, she has done that since
Of course.
March. And we told her we would make her administrator. We haven't done that, and that's on us. We haven't done it. It's not been done because we didn't do it.
Well, but we also didn't appropriate a pay raise in our budget either. And I
I mean,
feel.
we talked about an amount.
Oh, I mean, we did, but, and talking about an amount and actually acting upon it within our budget, to make it happen. That's two different things for me. I mean, I am not disputing that she that she deserves this. I mean, I'm not disputing that at all. What I feel uncomfortable with is the timeliness of where we're at right now, given the fact that we have cut positions. And we have been, we have preached about being lean and efficient. And, I would recommend for us, if we could, that we wait until the new budget year, see what our numbers look like, and then take this up then and build it into our budget.
Well, I don't think it would wait that long, to be honest with you, because I think there's things that need to be addressed before we get even into our new budget year, because we have to deal with the hospitalization, the insurance we have for our employees here. That has to change. I mean, we're paying too much for that. We're going to have to look into various programs, which I have worked some with Mary in doing that. And one of the jobs I would hope that she could have done is get us a plan that would provide for the employees of the courthouse, but also not, one that would be somewhat well, quite a bit cheaper on the commission, as far as cost per month. And that involves changing probably the type of plan we had into another type plan. But, all those have to be looked at, as well as looking at the other insurers as far as whether we might wanna look at another carrier for insurance, things of that nature. And we need that in place because I think it's, when it's April when we have to make that decision, or something of that nature, so.
This year, Doc, just to let you know, we have new, reporting we have to do too at the end of the year when we submit, you can submit W-2s,
Yeah.
we have to submit things, this is the first,
1095 or something to do with our insurance.
this is the first year that we're gonna be doing that too.
But I mean, I don't think, I mean, if, you know, I'd be amenable if you'd want to, wait to the next meeting to make a decision or something of that nature and look at,
I mean,
get you harder numbers to look at.
well, I
as
mean,
far as-
if you're giving a promotion and you're definitely giving a raise, we need to know what the raise is gonna be. And you
Well,
all have a number. what the-
that was, my intention, or at least when I looked at this, was to go ahead and get with the commission and discuss what they felt was, but like I said, if you don't know what she's going, you know, if the commission's not, I'm fairly, I think I know what her job would be as far as what I see it being, but, you know, I didn't wanna say anything about what I thought, because it's not what I think, it's what the commission would need. And I know some of the things we're gonna need, and hopefully I can convince the commission that we need to go ahead and move on those things. But I don't have any problem with, you know, discussing what y'all would think that would be worth. I do know that I can give you some numbers as far as what I've looked at, as far as what we'll save just in health insurance alone that we've discovered. So, you know, I think there's a lot of positives about moving on it sooner than later. And the other thing of it is too, as Phoebe mentioned, you know, I think there was a big push by yourself at the time we did the budget to do that, you know, to make her county administrator or put her in a position where she could help us more. And I feel, like I say, I feel real comfortable now that she can do that.
And and I was very vocal about it, very vocal about doing this, and, but what we didn't do is we didn't build it into our budget. And I'm not saying that, Mary has done a bad job since then, she's done a great job. But the only thing that I think that we need is we need to know, how much does a chief administrator officer make? I mean, what's the salary going to entail?
I mean, I feel comfortable with what we discussed initially. I feel like she is worth that. You compensate people,
You
their
do.
value of what you think they're worth to you. Mary, like I said, she has saved us, I know, just on our settlements alone, probably the difference in her pay.
So, the salary, so what are you recommending for the salary?
I mean, we talked about it, or you mentioned it.
I mentioned it in the budget meeting, and I mean, here's the thing, and I've talked about it several times, that I felt like this is something that we should do, but I didn't see the urgency, I didn't really see this to be happening right now. I felt that this would be happening when we did our new budget. And the reason I did that is because, we've cut a lot of offices.
We've asked her to do more since March too,
and
and she's done it, and we're getting ready to ask her to do more, and I don't.
And I have employees in my office who are doing more, and I just would like to know if,
Wait a
I-
minute.
I mean, I
You
would like
don't,
to know.
you are not signed into speak,
That's
Josh, and
okay,
you
that's
don't.
all right, but I am also a citizen
We are
of this
having a
county.
meeting here,
Yeah.
a business
But
meeting of
it's,
this commission.
it's awful funny how it's good for one side and not
Or
the
do
other.
you just let people speak out of
Don't,
turn?
please.
I
I'm
mean,
not
you
just
wouldn't let
speaking.
anybody else do this, Josh.
That's fine, I just wanna be clear that, I'm taking pay cuts, and we're
Hey.
talking about a raise.
Listen, we'll do this, we'll talk about this up here. So, I think that there could be, with our other elected officials, I think that it would be upsetting, and I think it would be upsetting some of our employees. But here's the thing, I mean, ultimately, in the end, is there, with the commission, is there anything that says, hey, listen, we can wait until the next budget year? Do you all feel like that you can wait till the next budget year?
No, not on this.
Okay, and you don't feel,
I mean, I don't see the
Okay.
sense in it.
What's
I mean, if
the-
we want her to do these things, I don't feel comfortable with asking her to do more. I mean, we've kind of not kept up our end of this, KK.
well, but the thing about it is and a point has been made, is that there are other people in other offices that, and because they've been cut, they are doing much more as well.
Well,
But
and I agree
I'm
with
gonna get
that.
down to this salary. What's the salary?
Well, I mean, if you, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I know what you proposed last.
I know what we proposed, but I know it wasn't acted upon, but is that what you still
I
want?
mean, KK, you have been supportive of this,
I have.
100%. 2 weeks ago, you were supportive
No,
of this.
2
One
weeks
day you
ago-
told me, then the next morning you're not okay with it.
No,
Is it because certain people are getting upset?
No, it's the fact that, you know, whenever I spoke, we were talking about that, and yes, you know, I need to go in and I need to see, you know, what it is, what we need to do in order to make Mary an administrator. And that's, you know, and what it is, you know, what is the salary of an administrator? Is that what the salary is?
No,
And here's the thing,
I
but,
can tell you,
can I finish my comment? And and what I was, you know, in our conversation was not, and I didn't feel that our conversation was that this was going to happen immediately. That this was, and I felt like that this is going to be something that happened, you know, down the road. And here's the thing, and you prepare for things like that, because you have to. And I talked, you know, and just like you said, the next day, I was like, you know, I can't be for something like this right now, after everything that's happened.
well, along that same line, you know, I didn't even know the building permit fee schedule was gonna be put on this till it came out. You know, I mean, I don't, you know, if we're talking about lines of communication, we've got problems, and we all know it, but I mean, you know, you've got to decide on what to do and what you think's right, and we're not always gonna agree on that.
You're right.
And, you know, but I think we can all agree that, you know, we want to keep Mary helping us, you know, and to try to put her in a position that, I've never asked her to do anything that she couldn't do and couldn't do well. And that's hard to find in people. And, you know, and I really value being able to trust someone. And I trust Mary. I think that, you know, the way I feel about this is that, I think we ought to go ahead and appoint her chief administrative officer and then allow the commission to discuss her salary between now and the next commission meeting, and we'll, if you wanna vote on her salary, then we can do it then.
Hey, you can do it tonight.
Well, and that's fine, whatever the
I
commission
mean,
wants to do. I just feel, you know, I'm of the opinion that we really, up to a certain point, can't pay her enough to do what we're asking her to do. And what she has took on to learn in the last 2 years, she's been underpaid.
So, is there a motion, and for this, with a salary, a number? Is it?
What was the number you all, that was?
The number that was talked about during the budget year was $50,000 to be the administrator. Now, this is the chief administrative officer.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Well, I was gonna bring a point, if you look at other county administrators in surrounding counties, they get paid much, much more than that. I mean, you're looking at $70,000 and $60,000, and depending upon what you're looking at, so.
of course.
And, you know, but I don't expect, and I don't think Mary expects to make what they make in Kanawha County for that,
It's
so.
125,000.
Yeah, I didn't bring that up.
No, but, I mean, but what I'm saying is, you know, when we addressed that, when we talked about that, you know, during our budget, you know, I feel like we could have worked on that and worked at it, if we, you know, but we didn't, and I feel like that maybe, and I know you all wanna do this now, but I feel like that maybe, that it would be, we should sit back and we should wait until it begin, you know, until our next fiscal year to see where we're at, and
Do you have the same concerns financially for the budget that you did 3 months ago or 5 months ago? It seems to me to be a little better shape than what it was.
well, I mean, here's the thing, for the past 6 months, it has been, you know, what I have experienced, and I think it's what most people, you know, everybody that I've talked to, and, you know, and even in other counties, you know, we took a big hit in mineral, and we're not going to get a whole lot in coal severance, and that's the whole reason I brought up that the jail bill, you know, and it's a part of saying, like, PIA rates are going outside the world. And, I mean, there's, you know, I don't know when the cows are coming home, but it sounds like that they're on their way. And here's the thing, I would be comfortable with this, looking at this, and working something out during the beginning of the next fiscal year. But I don't feel like I can be for it right now. Now, you all feel free to do what I respect you all as commissioners, and you will feel free to do what you wanna do. So is there a motion for this, or are we gonna let this die for lack of consideration?
I'll make the motion to go ahead and appoint Mary Beth as chief administrative officer and place her on a salary of $50,000 a year.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. No. Motion carries 2-1. Next, we have unfinished business. I'm sorry, choking up. Unfinished business, we have regional jail bill. Now, we wanted to take that, you specifically talking to Jim Gaypart about this, about the discussion. Now, I have what he has sent us. And in West Virginia Code 31-2010G, it requires that after a regional jail facility becomes available pursuant to the article of this for the incarceration of inmates, each county within the region shall incarcerate all employees at the regional jail. When inmates are placed in the regional jail, the county shall pay for the regional jail and correctional facility authority fund a cost per day for each incarcerated person. Sorry. So anyway, I think what Jim was drilling down here is that, yes, we do have to pay the regional jail bill. And I understand, I'm not saying we shouldn't pay the regional jail bill. I'm just saying, I feel like we should just pay for our share. And I know that Phoebe, and I think Mary has spoken with some people, and we could actually set up payment plans through them. Because not only are we gonna be in this situation, but there's gonna be probably 45 other counties that are gonna be in the situation that we're in. And the legislature will have to act. There's nothing else that they're gonna be able to do. It's kinda like the OPEB, thing that happened with the school board. So, I would be in favor of setting up a payment plan for the regional jail bill, or looking into the payment plan to see how much that would cost. All right? And well, I mean, what I'm saying, I move that we look into seeing what it would cost to set up a to set up a payment plan with them. Okay?
I'll second that.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Let's try to get that done before the next meeting, and then we'll bring it back,
Okay.
say what it's gonna be, and then we can figure out what we wanna do
Yeah.
from there.
That's a good
But,
idea.
Mary's also talked with the prosecuting attorney. This is a complicated beast because there's so many people involved. I mean, we want law enforcement to do their job. You have law enforcement, you've got the prosecuting attorney in his piece of the puzzle, the judge signing orders, there's a process there. And I think we need to be more diligent on making sure things are expedited. And Jim has been willing to, he said he was willing to meet with Mary once a week and go over that. Get orders signed. And I think we need to talk at least once a month, where we are on it, what we saved, how things are being processed.
Well, I think also.
I was at a regional meeting one time with West Virginia Association of Counties, and some of these people, some of these counties are hiring people to do that position, and they're saving as much as $200,000 on the jail bill, just making sure that these people are coming back to court.
That's what Jim Gayhart was talking about. He actually spoke of that during our budget meetings, of doing something of that effect. And we also talked about hiring or setting up a committee So the non-violent offenders, instead of going to jail, went to home confinement, which is at a cost of $3 a day, 11, as opposed to 48.
Pre-trial. home.
Yes, and Mary, we had talked, and we have that kind of information as well, so we can look at that as well. But what we'll do is, we'll find out and get some numbers, and then we'll come back.
No motion.
The motion was on
Yeah.
the floor.
Motion's up there.
Yeah,
Second.
yeah, the second was,
I second
he
it.
seconded, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea to review them monthly, you know, to see where we're at with things. And what we can do is have the new administrator give us an update on it monthly there, so.
All right, we go to new business, and you see the new business.
I have one question under new business,
All right.
not a big. This act to approve advertisement for dilapidated building board meeting,
Mm-hmm.
is this something that we are required to do?
No, we actually, we have a dilapidated building board, okay? And that is the enforcement board for dilapidated buildings. They have had one meeting. We kind of got these people back together, or really fielded, and they haven't had a meeting, like one meeting for themselves, because they have to get, want to get the officers and get the kind of the priority of what they're going to work on. So, the reason I was putting that on there is to let people know that we would have a dilapidated building meeting on, I think it's December the 3rd at 7 o'clock.
I don't have a problem with approving to pay for this advertisement for this meeting, since you're trying to get it started, but I don't feel comfortable with doing it every meeting.
Well, we don't have to do that every
Okay.
meeting. We can put it on our website, and we can just, because what will happen is, they'll get together, everybody will get their emails, they'll send out emails, this is when we're gonna have it, and then we can put it on our website, and everybody will know.
Yeah, 'cause there's a process
Yeah.
they have to go through on all these properties, coming before us and telling us if they notified, if they received any receipt from them and things like that. And it's a process they have to go through. And before, now that we have the fee schedule in place, it's important to get this particular committee operational, because they're the ones that's going to get our monies back too. I mean, we're going to work with them to try to set up things so we can go ahead and get liens on
Yeah,
this.
and this is not just like, and the town of Hamlin has an initiative, but this is a Lincoln County initiative. So there's certain people that have to be on the board. And then there's certain people that, you're trying to get.
But you have the board set up already.
Yes,
But
the
you
board
just
is
have
set
to
up.
get.
We have to get them together, and we have to get officers. So
Okay, well, I mean, I don't have a problem with doing it this time, I just don't wanna get into, like, we don't advertise for the solid waste or the EDA,
I
you know
understand.
what I mean?
But
I'm
we,
afraid we'll
when
start-
we had the planning commission meeting, that was one of the things we talked about, is trying to do it. Should we do this? And I said, well, maybe we should, since it's the first meeting.
Okay, all right, good. Well,
So if we don't have any other objections, I move that we approve the new business as presented.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. With that being unanimous, motion carries. Next, we go to open discussion. Anyone?
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything? Well, I want to just make sure that, I want to make sure that everyone knows why I voted no. And it's not against Mary at all. Mary does a great job. I felt like that as a commission, we have, really pounded the hammer as to, we are, in dire times. And I felt like that this was a decision that maybe we could have made at the beginning of the next budget year. But other than that, I appreciate the passing of the commercial building permits, and that's gonna be received very well for the planning commission. Other than that, I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
We're adjourned.
oh, you are signing.
Cut my hair, laid back, you know, put hair shape. Next thing I know, I cut something on the.
Why wasn't Sean here